Big dog status, I'm a big dog vet. I pull up on the block in a big Corvette. Ride around the city with a stick all black. Try with a stove, but we ain't with all that. $1 million and I can't go back. Got a lot of jewelry on me, man, can't hold that. So ask him better, tell him that I ain't so crack. Know your money long when your people can't fold that. I'm ballin', yeah. My mama told me that did my calling. I keep that stick, I don't do no brawling. Up and out the doors and let them all in here. Yeah, they all in here. Big dog, they come out the game, so big dog. Heavy patty, don't break my wrist off.
What a match! What a match! Ladies and gentlemen, girls, good evening, and welcome to Rugby Pass Fan Zone with me, Halde, and my beautiful colleague, John. How are you, John? Are you all right, mate? Are you okay?
I'm all right.
Thanks for joining in, guys. Thanks for joining in. You'll see, keep following us for the next 20 minutes or so. We're going to be talking about everything to do with today's Calcutta Cup match. My goodness, what a match. I'm from Scotland, in case you didn't notice. John, my esteemed colleague, is not from Scotland. He's from England. So please feel free to jump in with any comments, guys. We're going to try and read out as much of your comments as you like. Join in the chats. First comment that's come up there, John, penalty count. Andrew Brace, Irish referee, not the most experienced. Obviously, we've lost Nigel Owens and the crack that comes with him. Mm-hmm. Did you think Andrew Brace, first of all, did he have a good game, bad game? What do you think?
You know what? I'm going to say he had a great game, to be honest. In terms of refereeing the breakdown, the penalty count, it speaks for itself. You know, I think England really did let themselves down. Numerous penalties, and just you can't let a team like Scotland, who rely so much on momentum, easy footholds into the game. So, you know, we're giving them easy penalties. They're banging into 22. Like, look how many times Stuart Hogg got it from within their own 10, and he's sending it inside deep within the 22. And you know, they're having field possession. Like, look at the territory stats. Look at the possession stats. Scotland dominated across the board. So I think, like, yeah, England haven't helped themselves with the penalty count, and I think he refed it as he should have, basically.
I'd agree with you on that, John. I would definitely agree. Difficult match, obviously. Brace is coming back from a pretty horrible experience of being lashed by the French media, by French people. He had a real hard time on social media, things like that. But yeah, I think I think the game flowed. And I think we need to concentrate more on the fact that, Khalid, how nice to see England missed a strong at 13. There's another good talking point. We had Cam Redpath today, making his debut for Scotland. A very solid game from a scorer's point of view. He carried well. He had a great balance about him. He's really good on both feet. He's going to be a very, very exciting prospect coming in the future. In contrast, John, Lawrence, Ollie, where was he today?
I think, he's 2021, similar to Cam Redpath. As we know, they are very close friends. I feel like he's a victim of the game in terms of he didn't do anything wrong. But, you know, as a centre, how can you be getting your first carry in 60 minutes?
Exactly.
In a test match, you can't. Like, you're not gonna have any opportunity to, like, test defenders, try beat the first tackler. You know, Watson was similar, didn't get his first carry until, you know, it was a turnover in our own 5 as a winger. So in that respect, he's a victim of the game, and you know, we can't really put too much blame on him. However, Cam Redpath, you know, test debut, 21 years old. I mean, I don't think you could want any more from a starting 12.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a shame for them as well, because they are obviously making their debuts. There's a couple of debuts today. David Cherry, another one for Scotland, making their debuts and empty Twickenham. You want to go out there. You want your mum, your dad, your girlfriend, out the crowd, giving it away. Jamesy, great result, well played. Scott did play very well, but yeah, you want the roar, and you want the boos, and you want the ahs and things like that. How much? Me personally, I don't know if the crowd played much impact on today. But then again, with 10 minutes to go, still a score in it. Do you think if there was a big roaring Twickenham crowd there, John, do you think that might have changed it?
Yeah, absolutely. We know how hard HQ is when you've got the crowd full belt singing Sweet Low and Swing Low and stuff and Sweet Chariot. It's a very, very intimidating place. I think Johnny Wilkinson made a point in pre-match. Like when there's no crowd, you have to find your own motivation. Exactly, some players thrive off a crowd. I've played in crowds, 15, 20,000 people, and you do get that extra bit of energy. Now we're 8 months in, rugby's back, and we have no crowds, and it's going to be like that for the foreseeable. So how players get a chance to get their own motivation is tough. So for me, I feel like, it is a big factor, but it does even the playing field. So at the end of the day, best team wins at 80 minutes. There isn't a 16th man. You can't rely on the crowd to get you over from last 15 minutes. Is how badly do you want it? And from minute 1 to minute 80, you could see the desperation in Scotland's eyes. They knew it was a big result. I think it's the first time Scotland have beaten England in over 30 years at Twickenham. So in terms of like setting the standards and setting the trend for the rest of the Six Nations, they're in very good stead. If you've got a chance as well, guys, make sure you do check out myself and Halde on Instagram. My Instagram is John Okafor __. Same with the YouTube, Halde. I'm sure you want to plug your own socials.
Yes, just Instagram. We don't get much socials up here in Scotland. At Halde Pottinger. We've had a couple of chats come up there, John. Daniel, Liam, and some other guy. But thanks for your input, guys. Keep coming in with your comments. One comment there, and I want to try and really say this. There's been a danger in the past, especially when Scotland, maybe not so much with England. England are also a fantastic team, and they are still an amazing team. Today, and we spoke about this before the match again, England did not lose the match today. Big time. England did not lose the match. Scotland won the match. There's a comment there, a couple of comments coming up saying, England played terribly, England played terribly. England didn't play very well, but that was because Scotland did not let them play well. And we said this before as well. How can any team look to win with your opposition having 70% of the possession and the territory? Great debuts, thanks to Yondre. Great debuts from Redpath and a performance from Hogg, absolutely. But I think we just need to concentrate on that, John. I don't know what your thoughts are as well. We just need to concentrate on that. It wasn't an amazing England performance, but I think that was down to how well Scotland played and how perfectly Townsend got it tactically today as well.
I mean, yeah, definitely. In terms of the tactics across the board, I think, like you said, Gregor Townsend is a great spot on. I mean, you look at that first opening 8 minutes in the second half, you're down a man. Like, how often do teams ever experience a situation where they don't have a fly half and you got Cam Redpath, test debut, stepping in at first receiver, bossing it. I mean, they played in tight and, saw that yellow card period without conceding. Because typically the stats say a yellow card period, you concede a try. So, I think the way Scotland managed that period, that's a massive momentum swing because England want to come out half-time. They probably had a bollocking from Eddie Jones saying, buck your ideas up, come out flying. And England have really, Scotland, have really showed that they have got great management skills. We can speak, I'm sure we want to speak about Stuart Hogg's performance because for me, that was a Twickenham masterclass for me in terms of that's how you play England at Twickenham for me.
It was, I won't go as far to say it was a day of redemption for Hogg because he's been turning it on week in, week out for Exeter. But he didn't have the best Six Nations last season. And with the Lions tour coming up, he needed a big game. I think he did need a big game. He's taken quite a lot on his shoulders. We see that when people become captain, the responsibility, different things need to almost changed the way they play, almost. When you have such an elusive player that Hoggy, you need to make sure that making him captain would be the right decision. I think that has been confirmed today. And it was almost like the Hoggy of old. He was exciting. He was amazing. Ball always in two hands. Any young player watching this at the moment, keep that ball in two hands, which Hoggy does. It's just amazing how he gets involved in the game. And I think, I wouldn't go as far as saying it's a day of redemption for Hoggy, but he was outstanding. Thank you very much, CGM. He was outstanding today. As a really good game for Scottish Rugby.
Honestly, I think that Stuart Hogg performance, like we can talk about the numerous kicks. I mean, 5 meters out from 60 out, pinning England back. We can talk about in open field and broken play, beating the first man. And for me, I feel like that's the two differences with the sides. I mean, when you had Finn Russell getting the yellow card, Stuart Hogg picked up his slack. Took the game, made stuff happen. England, on the other hand, I think England as a team, we know how to win. As in, 15 players have a collective mentality of winning. Like you don't have the best winning percentage in the professional era under England without being able to do that. However, where we've struggled, in my opinion, is in games like this. Where are match winners? Who's 15 minutes to go? We're 5 points out. Who's going to grab the game by the scruff of his neck and make something happen? I mean, Farrell was a bit off pace. Youngs was a little bit off pace. Johnny May dropped a few balls. Like these are the players we turned to. Elliot Daly. How many times did we mention Elliot Daly? Not at all. How many times did he get a touch? But these are players 2-3 years ago. They were winning games, and that's the difference. Scotland now have match winners in their team. If Stuart Hogg has a slack game, Finn Russell can step up, pick up the slack. Look at the crossfield kick to Duhan van der Merwe. A different bounce. That's a try. More often than not, Van der Merwe takes that, and that's a try.
And talking about that, John, as well, thanks, Nicole, for jumping in. Welsh, I'm over the moon. Scott absolutely pulled it off out the bag. Happiness levels through the roof. Absolutely. Thank you very much. But that's a great point there. Scotland beforehand, we wouldn't have these match winners that you're talking about. Duhan van der Merwe, he's a match winner. He didn't get the ball a lot today. He was solid enough. He did his job. But say Maitland got the ball that he got, or Darcy Graham, say they got the ball in that position, I don't think they would have scored because the defence was there. But the fact that Duhan was able to do it, he becomes this match winner. And it was good today. I thought Brace did have a good game. Go back to the referee. Kelly, thanks for joining in. England needs to stop worrying about starting players that haven't been playing, for example, Jack Willis, Adog, Sean, Sam Simmons. Sam Simmons, we could speak all day for Sam Simmons. This would have been Sam Simmons' game. Fast-paced, chaotic, ball over the place. This would have been his game. He wasn't at the races today, and neither a big favourite of mine, Tom Curry. Where was he today?
I mean, I think Eddie Jones he's got his back row. He likes his back row. I mean, if it wasn't for the injury, Underhill would have been in that playing that 6th role that Wilson was playing. So his argument is: are we missing Underhill's work rate in defence? He's over the ball. Billy Vinabola is more of our attacking threat, and Curry's our pilfer. So we look to win the ball back. So are we missing Underhill? I mean, another factor to consider is Billy Vinabola and the rest of the Saracen boys. They haven't played since the Autumn Nations Cup. If they play again post Six Nations, that's a whole different topic, and we can talk about that all day. So in terms of how match ready that some of those boys are, it's going to be tough to tell. So I feel like we're definitely missing Underhill's work rate, and Mark Wilson didn't have a bad game, but we noticed the difference. The balance, the back row was slightly a bit off.
Yeah, we've said that. We've had a couple of cool comments coming in about Van der Merwe, big Duhan being a miss for South Africa. We'll see how that happens. He's still relatively new on the international scene, and we'll see how this going. Duhan's got that South African power. Absolutely. He's a Scot Bock. I think that's what they call him.
Scott, yeah, actually, I've heard that term before.
Or Spring Scot, or something like that. But he's Scottish, all right? He's Scottish. Really well today. Are there any players today that have played themselves into Warren's thinking about South Africa, hopefully South Africa, possibly Australia, or are there any players who've actually played themselves out of contention? I need to say, bang on my number 10 in a red jersey has to be Finn Russell, especially after today. Surely, without a doubt.
No brainer. No brainer. I think 15, Stuart Hoggs his shirt to lose now. Like that's unless he has a disastrous rest of the Six Nation campaign and the rest of the domestic season, which I doubt. That's his shirt. It's his shirt to lose. I think the 10 jersey, it'll be interesting to see. I think Finn Russell's probably the leading candidate regarding that. I think there are a few spots up for grabs. I think the 9 spot is probably one of the biggest jerseys up for grabs in terms of who's going to be our starting 9. I don't think anyone's played themselves out, but there will be more questions asked. I mean, we've got Tom Curry now. He didn't have a great game. Billy Villapolo didn't have the best of games. So I think like some of these players people are gonna ask questions about them. Are they ready to start if the Lions tour does go ahead? Make sure, guys. I've got a little bit of the RugbyPass merchandise on as I'm lovely modeling it. So link is in the description. We've got t-shirts, sweatshirts, tracksuit bottoms, hoodies, beanies, you name it. All that cozy, lovely loungewear to make lockdown a little bit more bearable. So click the link in the description below and make sure you have a browse.
Get the merch. You can almost look as good as I do if you do. It's been a good opening weekend of Six Nations rugby, I think. Shadow, what a win, absolutely, mate. Obviously, we had France scoring, 7 tries or so against the Italians, 50 points to 10. Was that the final score? It was a disappointing from the Italian side, but good to see France playing some of that champagne rugby that we all love, because when we have a good France playing, we have a good, exciting Six Nations. Josh, most deserving for the Lions squad is Johnny Gray. That could be a talking point as well for the future. Johnny Gray seems to do a lot, and he has been doing a lot for the last few years. He hasn't seemed to have been able to get over that last bit, not hurdle because he's doing so well, but that last, just to make Warren turn that pencil into a pen. And he played out with skin today, but I do think with him now playing with Exeter, we might see a leadership role coming from Johnny Gray. We saw him when the forwards were round before Lennox. He was passionate, he was banging it out. And then when his big brother comes on to help him out in the last 15 minutes. I think if we're talking about players who might have played themselves into line contention, I think Johnny Gray might be up there. What do you think?
I mean, literally, I think the move to Exeter has just transformed his career. I think you look at his defensive stats, you look at his tackling numbers. Look, he doesn't miss tackles. In fact, he does a lot of dirty work. Going to Exeter, that is literally it's their model build player, someone that does the dirty work, who can defend like a machine. So, like you said, I think that's another player. I think that Warren Gatland's probably going to look and say that maybe becomes a probable, or you're like you said, writing his name. One of the first names is writing on that sheet for our first test against South Africa.
Because he's obviously going up against another big second row, Maro Itoje. Maro played well today. He did. And we spoke about it beforehand, and we spoke about it during the match. He plays to the line. I think today, maybe he just crossed the line slightly. It would be interesting to find out how many penalties Maro gave away. I don't think he had the stamp on the match as much as he'd like to, although for the first 10 minutes, he absolutely ran Ali Price off the mark. Where I was just shouting at the screen thinking, why aren't Scotland doing something to protect Ali? Ali needs protected. Why isn't something going on to help them out? Poor Ali. But Maro, he's got to come back, isn't he? He's got to come back. England, that's the thing. England are going to pick themselves up, and they're going to. I feel sorry for the next opposition for them if they get it right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they got Italy next week. Expect a big response. I mean, traditionally, people look at that Italy game. You can blood in some players. You can consider someone like an Ollie Thorley or Dogwu, something like that. Those are the sort of games we look at and be like, yeah, we can test the balance. I think the response now you expect from players like Itoje and Eddie Jones with team selection. I'm expecting our best 23. Facts. Absolutely make a statement. Make a statement. England are here, you know, and they're not. This is just a blip on the trajectory towards 2023.
Yeah.
Like you said about Itoje, he didn't have a bad game, you know, in terms of like the master classes and like the man of the match performances, we've taken for granted. I think we expect these performances on like as normal. So in terms of this might be a little bit blip, not a bad game by no means. However, you know, I think the stamp he would have liked to put in the game, he didn't. You know, like I said, that first 10 minutes, he had Andy Price on skates. I mean, he was in his head, he was checking his passes, you know, he was a step or two slower, just checking himself out the ruck because Maro was all over him. But like you said, one of those players, he plays on the line. There isn't in between. There isn't 80% Maro or 70% Maro. No, it's 100. It's all or nothing with him, which is good. I love it. Just getting that balance.
He'll be captain. He'll be captain for Lions unless Warren's love child Alwyn Jones. No offense to Alwyn Jones. I love you. Don't worry. But you seem to be a first on that team sheet. I'm glad you're back tomorrow. And saying that, tomorrow we have got there's another stream coming up. So if you've enjoyed the crack today with John and myself, then tune it in tomorrow after the Wales-Ireland match, because we're going to be doing another live stream, another amazing fan zone for RugbyPass. Hamish Watson's line 7. I hope so. We shall see what happens. Predictions for tomorrow, John?
I think that it would be. I've got a lot of Welsh friends even, and I think that it might be a bit of a blowout for Wales. I don't think the Wales team right now is a team. It's a team in transition.
Yeah.
You know, after Warren Gatland's step down and whatnot, they're just trying to find their balance. You know, you've got a lot of exciting youngsters. Like you've got players like Lewis Rees-Zammit on the wing. George North is finding a little bit of form again. So it'd be very interesting to see how they go against Ireland. But I just don't think right now that Wales team is in a position to really be a threat this year. Maybe coming to the next Six Nations and then towards 2023, I think they'll get the balance and find their best 23 and the squad to build around that. But right now, I think that the squad right now, they're just trying to find their best 23. So I think Ireland by 15.
I'll agree with that. At least one of the Farrells will get a win this weekend. if I really do it. But we're going to call it there. And it's a massive day. It's been a massive day for rugby. It's been a massive day for Six Nations, but it's also been a massive day for Scottish rugby. That is the first. Believe it or not, I was never alive since the last time Scotland beat England at Twickenham. It's 38 years the last time Scotland beat England at Twickenham. And what a way to do it today. What a way to do it.
I thought you were older than that.
I know. And hard paper around, uphill with snow on my face most of the time. But and it's been a buzzing week for Scottish rugby as a whole. My Name's Dory Foundation this week, they passed £1 million from all the charity, all the fundraising that everybody has been doing throughout this last few months. Dory, an absolute hero of Scottish rugby. He's got his own battle just now against motor neuron disease, which kind of leads us on to a wee poignant moment. Today is actually 4 years since we lost one of the game's greatest players, still one of the game's greatest ever players, and that's obviously Yusuf van der Westhuizen, he just was your new mould of number 9 and brought the professional game into what it is just now. So a wee moment there for Just, and the best of luck to Dory and My Name's Dory Foundation to keep that money going in. But I think we're going to love you all. Leave it at that.
Yep.
Great game. Great message to send out to the other teams.
Yeah.
Foot is down. Let's just hope, from a Scottish point of view, that we can keep the momentum going. Let's not just write off the rest of the Six Nations and go, yes, we beat England. That's all we need to do. Let's just go. It's a success. Tick. Let's just rest in the Bahamas for the rest of the season. Let's hope that we can kick on from this. From a Scottish point of view, no injuries that we know of at the moment. So we've got Wales next week. There's going to be another live podcast or another live show after the Wales-Scotland game next week, and there will be for England as well when they take on the Azzurri. John, what are you hoping to see happening next week with yourself?
Big response. I mean, like I said earlier, Italy's a time where we can try test. I mean, more inexperienced players and give them some more test minutes. But given that performance, I want best 23. I think we need a big response. A lot of questions have been asked about England today by Scotland, and I think this is a big test of character. I think England were probably a little bit overconfident in terms of their attitude with teams like Scotland. So this is a massive wake-up call. Like, teams are coming for them. They've got a massive scalp on their head. So when we take on the Italians, I think we're in Rome. I think we're in Rome. But
I think you might be at Twickenham, John. I think you're at Twickenham. Because that's Italy just got smashed by France in Rome, and now they have to go to London.
So exactly. So I think we got to put a mark, big response, and I'd like Eddie to put our best 23 to really just set the tone for the rest of our Six Nations.
No, I agree with that. John, your social media thing, so people can keep enjoying your crack and keep the chat going throughout the week.
So as you see, we're on YouTube, so it's just John Okafor on YouTube. Subscribe, support the channel, everything rugby, uni, and just general life as a 22-year-old male I have on the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at John Okafor __. More of the same as well, but a bit more like just me on a day-to-day basis.
Nice. And if you're stupid enough to want to follow me, everything Scottish, you get me on Instagram at Halde Pottinger, and obviously subscribe to the RugbyPass YouTube channel for more banter like this. So until next week, well, we got tomorrow. We're all going to tune in tomorrow. We're all going to jump onto the YouTube channel afterwards and shout abuse at whoever's going to be presenting at that time. But from John or from myself, I'm going to say farewell for now.